Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I have a brand new layout and process video to share for the Pink Fresh Studio design team. And I'm going to be starting with this beautiful paper from the Just a Little Lovely collection. This collection has so many beautiful florals and watercolor effects on the paper. It is very hard to pick and choose which side you want to use because both sides are gorgeous on every pattern paper. But I just really felt pulled to this beautiful wreath paper, and I decided to fussy cut it out. And so I don't record this entire process because it did take a little bit of time. But here's the finished wreath, and I tried to cut out as much of it as I could and accidentally cut a little piece there so it came open, but you won't even be able to tell there. So once I'm done. Now I went through all the other pattern papers, and again, look at both sides of this paper. It's amazing. But I decided to go with this watercolor green and blue paper, and I decided to kind of twist and turn the wreath around a little bit until I got it just like I wanted it. And I'm going to scrap this really cute color photo of me and my oldest daughter, and I'm going to sort of try to tuck it in underneath some of the flowers there, just like you see me playing around with it there over on the left side, and then work embellishments and things around that. Now, you know me, if you follow me, you know I love to do mixed media. I can never just leave a background alone. I have to add something to it. That's just part of the fun process of scrapbooking for me, is getting a little bit messy. And so this pattern paper here has this nice big white spot over on the left. So I thought, well, that's a good spot to add some other colors. And if you look at the wreath, there's some really pretty dark purples and a little bit of this yellow orangey color. It's just a little bit of that, and then some light soft pinks. And so I thought I would play on those colors and add a little bit on this white area of the pattern paper. And then, you know, that's where my photo is going to sort of go, in that area. And so you're going to be able to see some of these watercolors peeking around the wreath, the flowers, and the photo. So I've got out my little tray there, and I've used it before. It's got all my Pink Fresh Studio watercolors in it. And what I love about these watercolors is even when they dry, if I just add a little bit of water, they reactivate. And so I didn't even really have to use a lot of watercolor from the actual bottles, because it only takes a little bit of these watercolors to add some bold color, because they're very concentrated, and you can definitely soften them up and create any color you want just based on, you know, how you mix them together and how much water you add. And yeah, it's just fun to play around with it. So I thought that I would add some yellow, some pink, and I want to try to keep the wreath kind of so I know where it's going to go and where to add the color, because I didn't want to add too much. I just wanted this to be a nice little subtle area of some other colors that aren't necessarily in those flowers. So it just takes me a little bit of time to play with that. I did add gesso first. You saw me do that, and that just sort of preps the paper. Gesso is a primer, and so what it's going to do is it's going to dry on the paper and prevent a little barrier or a layer between the liquid and the paper. So the color is not going to just soak right through the paper immediately as soon as I hit the brush to the paper. It's going to allow me to smudge and blend and move the color around a little bit before it dries. So I love the effect of this. You can kind of see how I'm creating these just little faded areas of color behind the photo there. And I love this effect, and lots of different ways you could do this. I'm just using a little brush here to add the color. And like I said, I wanted to bring the wreath back and sort of paint around it so I would know exactly where the colors needed to go. So I'm mixing some pinks and some purples together. I mixed a little bit of orange and pink together. I mixed a little bit of yellow and orange together. So I just continued to work on that. It took me a little bit of time, and you can kind of see the finished product there. I did wind up going a little bit darker with the purple, just to add a little bit of that in there, since that is in the wreath. of flowers. So this little flower and set of leaves here is basically going to get covered up with my picture. So I didn't want that to go to waste. If it's going to be covered up, I might as well just cut it off and use it somewhere else where it's going to be visible. So I just cut off that little pink flower and the matching leaf, and then I'm going to start to work on everything else since the background is pretty much done. I love to add adhesive foam behind things to create dimension. And so this is just a sheet of adhesive foam. It's sticky on one side. I get this from Walmart. It's easy to cut. You can cut it in any length or size or shape. And you just peel off the backing, stick it to your paper. And I also did that behind my photo. And then when I get ready to glue it down, I'll just add my glue. And what this is going to do is just raise everything up off the page a little bit and create some depth. So you can kind of see here how the design is going to go. That's where my picture is going to go. That's where the wreath is going to go. So the rest of this layout is going to be me embellishing. And this collection has some really beautiful embellishments. What I just did there was add some thread. I always like to add tangled thread to my layouts, and I just love the messy factor of it. It looks kind of whimsy. It adds pops of color and texture, and for me, the more texture that I can add to the background, the better. And I added some yellow over there to the right, since I didn't really have any yellow embellishments or flowers there at this time. So I just kind of go back and forth. I've got a lot of the ephemera die cuts pulled out over there on the left, and I pulled out every piece that could possibly work with this layout, and everything worked. So I had to kind of pick and choose and pull back a little bit because you know, I didn't want to add every single thing on one layout, and sometimes that gets hard when everything looks good. I am going to add a floral die cut to the right of the photo. I'm gluing that down there right now. I'm going to go ahead and start to glue things down because I know right now that I'm not going to be moving the wreath and I'm not going to be moving the picture. Everything is going to be there. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of glue to all those adhesive pieces that I stuck to the wreath, and then go from there. So at this point, you know, everything is kind of busy. The wreath is kind of busy, and then the open spot inside the wreath is nice, wide and open. So I don't want to completely close that in. So I'm just going to add a couple of things around the page. I added a couple of, let's see, I added a puffy sticker up at the top because there was a little open space in the wreath. And then I'm going to add this little sentiment sticker over to the right that says a favorite memory, and it's pink, and I love that pop of pink. And then this die cut says precious moments. And there are a lot of really fun, scripty, beautiful, small ephemera die cuts, but I felt like it was blending in too much. The flowers and this wreath is kind of scripty in its own way, I guess you could say. And I felt like I needed more, like the die cut that says precious. The word precious stands out a little bit more, I think, because it's more of a block font. And you may disagree. That's just how my mind was looking at this at the moment whenever I was trying that beautiful piece and then the other one that said fabulous. I just felt like I needed a different font. Now, I took a break and came back. This is a set of the puffy stickers, and they're these really beautiful, scripty, really big words, and I felt this word looked great. So I'm going to wind up using this, and I love how it stretches almost across the entire bottom part of the wreath there. And it says lovely, and it's a really pretty soft pink. And you get 2 sheets in that puffy sticker pack of these really big, they're very general words that you could use on pretty much any theme of a page. So they're not, you know, for a specific season or anything. And that's what I love about this collection is, you know, it's pretty versatile. So I'm going to tuck in lovely there, and I love how that looks. And it gives the title, but it, you know, it's still very subtle. It's not distracting from anything. I don't feel like it's too bold or overbearing. And I'm going to add in a couple more puffy stickers around the edges where I want to just fill in some open spots on the wreath. And these puffy stickers are the darker purple color. because I definitely want to leave the majority of the inside of the wreath open, because, you know, I've got the mixed media there, and I think the inside being open kind of draws your eye to everything else. Here's another set of small puffy alpha stickers, and they're so pretty. They're watercolor effect, and I thought I would add in a couple of those and just add a "This is" above lovely. So my title will be "This is Lovely," and I'm just using my T-square ruler there to make sure everything's nice and straight. And you get 2 sets of those watercolor puffy alphas and 2 different color schemes that match everything in this collection. And then my journaling is going to go right under lovely, and to make sure that that's straight, I'm going to use my pencil to draw some lines, and then I'm going to use my gold metallic pen for my journaling here. I didn't want it to be black because I felt like that would just draw a lot of darkness to that part of the layout, and I wanted to keep everything kind of light from this point on. So I did want to add some gold splatters, and so I just pulled out a bottle of my I think this is Martha Stewart craft paint. It's just metallic gold, and all I did was water it down and then use my brush to splatter it around. It works great, and it's still very shimmery and shiny once it dries. And I did add the date, but that's the final layout. I love the colors in this. Look how gorgeous the colors are. Oh my goodness. Every single pattern paper is beautiful. There's so much watercolor goodness, perfect for backgrounds. If you love florals, definitely get your hands on this because it's so beautiful. It's definitely in the shop, so you can purchase it at pinkfreshstudio.com. And again, it's called Just a Little Lovely. I hope you enjoyed this. I really love how this turned out. Let me know if you have any questions about the techniques or the products, anything at all. And I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.